Hey everybody, what's going on? Today we are looking at not one but two Star Wars Power of the Force figures. Now I know that I'm often late to open things, but we're talking about Power of the Force, so we're talking about an Imperial speeder bike with Biker Scout Stormtrooper from 1995, as well as a speeder bike with Luke Skywalker in Endor gear from 1996. These are, of course, from the Power of the Force line, which was, for a lot of people, I think, a really important line. In terms of just collecting. I know that a lot of people were like going really, really hard on these as collectors. I mean, I'm finding this out now, right? I was a teenage kid in the relatively small town that I live in, collecting these. Not a completist by any means. I did not have these, which is kind of weird. I've said before, Return of the Jedi is my absolute favorite Star Wars film, and so I'm really, really excited to have the opportunity to open these now. Uh, you know, 30, nearly 30 years after the fact. But anyway, before we get these open, let's take a look at the packaging. This packaging is so iconic, and it's no wonder that Hasbro has actually done Black Series figures that reference this packaging, because I think for a lot of Star Wars toy collectors, the Power of the Force holds a very special place in our hearts, large chests and all. Let's take a look at the packaging so we can get these out of the box. First up, pretty generic box. There's a whole lot of words on here, right? So Star Wars Power of the Force at the top. You got a cutout, window there so you can see the figure that is admittedly, like, looking at them now, they're not that great. I mean, the sculpts are pretty clumsy, the paint's pretty clumsy, but we'll get there. Just a picture of the product on the front. I don't think it's a render. I think it's genuinely like a picture of the product. On the side, we get the same thing, picture of the product, and sort of just lots of words. There's just lots of words everywhere. The packaging is not as clean as I remember in terms of just how much stuff is going on here. Pretty cool to note that both of these speeder bikes have a little button that basically makes the speeder bike blow up, which I think is a cool feature, and I'm excited to actually get this out of the box and play with it a little bit. But just the cross cells on the back there, I didn't have any of those vehicles. I just had a whole bunch of figures, which is ironic because everybody sort of talks about this scale being great for world building. But I did have, of the 10 figures on the back here, I think I had 8 of them. I don't remember having Han Solo and Hoth gear, and I don't remember having X-Wing, Luke Skywalker and X-Wing fighter gear, but I definitely had C-3PO, R2, Chewbacca, Darth Vader, the TIE fighter pilot. Definitely had Luke in Dagobah fatigues. Definitely had Yoda. I had Lando. Don't know why. Boba Fett was a must. I think Boba Fett back then was still like a mysterious character, right? Like we didn't know really who he was or sort of what he was doing, or he was just a bounty hunter, and he was I would say he was cooler back then. But anyways, on Luke's speeder bike packaging, of course, it is 1996. It's a little bit different. It's got the green and yellow versus the orange and yellow. Again, it's a picture of the product there, not a render, not art, anything like that. This one's a little bit cleaner. There's not as much, as far as description and words and on and on and on. But you do get the cross cell on the back here. The cross cell on the back here, I will just call your attention to Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker with that super, super hard cape. I loved that figure. I had all these. Actually, that's not true. I did not have Moma Nadon Hammerhead. I did have a couple of those Sand Troopers, and I love those little Jawas. Neither of those vehicles, though. I don't think I had any vehicles. Now that I'm thinking of it, I don't remember having any Power of the Force vehicles. So these might, in fact, be my first Power of the Force vehicles. Now they're small, but I'll take them. Anyways, I'm gonna get these out of the box, starting with the Imperial Speeder Bike with Biker Scout. All right, so here we have the Scout Trooper. This this pose is pretty unreal. Like you're definitely getting very limited articulation. You've got you know, the rotation of the shoulder. You know, you got the hip joint, you got a knee joint, thankfully, because he's gonna ride the bike. But I mean, as far as a static pose goes, like that's a pretty funny static pose. No blaster, no pistol, nothing like that. So you just get the figure and the bike, and then a sticker sheet. Actually, what I'll take a look at that in a moment. The one piece of interesting articulation that they did put in here, because he's going to ride a bike, is that his whole neck moves, which is interesting. You know, you know, I think we got, you know, head swivel on these figures in the standard figures, but to get this articulation, to give him the ability to sort of sit on the bike and look up, I think is a pretty cool thing to add. That being said, you know, like this figure, man, figures have come a long way since these. I used to absolutely love these, but you know, when you get them in hand, especially one like this where it's designed with a very specific purpose, with a very specific pose, you can you can't help but laugh. I mean, it's a little bit odd, and it's functional, right? It's functional. So that's well, I'll give them that. The speeder bike is actually quite nice, and quite detailed. There's some nice paint apps. You know, you get the weathering on the front fins. You get a little bit of weathering on the main bike there, and some shading. Not a lot of paint. I mean, it's I can't remember how much these were at retail, but they were I remember them being relatively inexpensive. Certainly not an expensive toy by any stretch. Very much a toy. I mean, it's very plasticky. It's very kind of gimmicky, especially with the sort of exploding function, that I'll definitely show in a second. But you know, the finishing's not great. You can see where it's sort of put together. It's a little bit crooked, like it kind of came out of the mold a little bit funky. Everything's just sort of thrown together. They're not trying to like hide anything. These are just clipped on. But they were toys. I mean, that's the thing. That's I think part of what I actually still love about, you know, some of these lines is that they were designed to be toys. I mean, I know a lot of people bought a lot of these. The fact that I could get, you know, these two speeder bike sets for like $30 Canadian, which is like $20 in United States dollars, that's probably like less than retail price. So people bought too many of these, and sort of treated them like collector's items, but they were toys. Like 100% they were toys. Collector's items don't really do this. When you push a button, you know, it's kind of one of those things where I love that this line exists. I love that there's so many out there, because you can still buy them brand new in box and not feel at all bad about opening up the packaging to play with these toys. I think that, you know, if you wanted to go out and find one of these for yourself, you absolutely could. I did want to mention as well, you know, this came with instructions for where to put the decals, and, you know, instructions for how to put the thing together, although it's pretty straightforward. I am happy that they included the instructions for where to put the decals, because I probably just put them on wrong. I'm definitely going to put these on. I'm actually excited to put these on because, you know, as a kid, that was always super, super fun to, you know, feel like you were kind of customizing it. That's about as close to customizing as I ever got as a kid. But anyway, I appreciate that I get to put the decals on. I don't know that some people would sort of rather have all the decals already be on there. But I like it. I mean, there's sort of like a fun aspect there. There's there's a bit of nostalgia there as well. So anyway, let me get the other speeder bike with Luke out of the box, and we'll take a look at that. All right, so here we have Luke Skywalker in indoor gear. This is, I would say, a way better figure than the Biker Scout, or the Scout Trooper. Sorry, it's still a weird figure. I mean, by 1996 standards, it's decent. By today's standards, it's pretty brutal. Same articulation, more or less, as the Scout. Minus the really pronounced stance for the legs. These legs are quite wide, but they don't have like a weird sort of pose to them, which I appreciate. I used to love that these were the sort of the I don't know, the vest, if you want to call it, the sort of poncho that he had in the movie was removable. Or more or less removable. It's a soft rubber. It sort of moves and sort of gets out of the way, but it's still very, very much sculpted and molded and feels really, really big and chunky. But that's the allure of these figures. That's the allure of this line, is that by the standards of 1995, 1996, these were awesome figures. These were figures that we were really, really excited about. Or at least I was. And now they just don't hold a candle, to modern figures. The speeder bike is the exact same speeder bike. It's, down to the paint apps, down to the deco. It's got a 1995 stamp, so they didn't do anything different with this. It still explodes. I didn't mention on the other one, but the exhaust flaps are controlled by the foot pedals. So that's kind of cool. I mean, it's like I said, it's a cool toy. I'm happy to have them in my collection. I'm definitely going to repurpose them for more modern stuff. What I will note with Luke Skywalker is that he does come with his pistol, or a pistol. I'm pretty sure that's I don't think that's his pistol as such. I don't remember what pistol he had. That looks like Han Solo's pistol to me, but he also comes with a lightsaber, and it's not a crazy long one like that first year of Power of the Force was. It's an appropriate length. My only gripe is that the sticker sheet is exactly the same. I may have to write an angrily worded letter, handwritten letter to Kenner about this, and tell them that they can do better. Because the number is even the same, so it's number 2. I mean, I think if this is a fleet of speeder bikes, if you have both of them, you'd want 1 and 2, or 2 and 3, or whatever the case may be. So I'm a little bit disappointed that I didn't get different numbers. But that's life. I guess I'm just gonna have to live with it. It also came with the sort of the sticker application sheet. They call them labels. This is apply the labels. It also, I like that for added play, the speeder bike vehicle will explode apart by pressing knapsack button on rear of toy. So as I said, just really, really fun, really very much intended to be toys, never intended to be collector's items, which I think is what makes it extra funny that there's so many of these out in the world, new in box, mint on card, whatever the case may be based on what item it is. Just as a point of reference, I did want to, this is a Star Wars vintage collection figure. So this is sort of what the current Star Wars figures look like. And they're in scale. I mean, they've intentionally made the vintage collection in scale with the Power of the Force and the vintage stuff. But just as a further comparison, this is how he compares to a Joy Toy figure. So the Joy Toy figure is a little bit chunkier. Admittedly, the proportions are a little bit different. But this Joy Toy figure is going to look really, really good as the pilot for this speeder bike, I think. At least on my shelf. As I said, the speeder bikes are going to get repurposed. I think they may end up in a cyberzoic type of scenario once I get that stuff in hand. So Power of the Force is super, super cool, but I don't intend to get any more of it. I'll have these figures as a touch point, but nothing more. Anyways, I'm gonna get all the decals on here and then give my final thoughts on these awesome toys. All right, so here are both of the speeder bikes with the figures, and they look great. I mean, these are great, fun toys. My opinion of these, I think, is probably pretty much the same as it was when I sort of first got Power of the Force figures. They're fun. They're great toys. They are fine for what they are. I was never, was never worried about the likeness for Mark Hamill. It was a Luke Skywalker figure. The speeder bikes, as I said, are cool. The sculpting is good. The decals even look pretty decent. They're not perfect, but they're fine for what they are. And I think, sometimes we lose track a little bit of why we sort of got into toys in the first place and sort of what it is about toys that we love. And for me, what I love about toys is the fun, and these offer that. And I'm pretty excited to have sort of had the opportunity to pick these up and to do this unboxing. Big shout out to A Punk with Toys and a Retro Toy Princess for setting this all up and sort of doing this Power of the Force May. I can't remember what it's called. But check out all the other videos, and hopefully these sort of bring back memories. Hopefully this month of videos has been inspired you to go grab a toy just for the sake of it being a toy, right? To just grab something just because it's fun. Because I think that's what that's what the Power of the Force sort of offers now in hindsight, is just fun. Yeah, go grab yourself a fun toy, whether it's Power of the Force or something else. Just have fun. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you don't want to miss future videos, hit the bell icon to get notifications. Until next time, bye-bye.